Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second NASCAR recap preview show of 2023. Today, we're going to break down the Daytona 500 weekend, and we're going to look forward to Fontana, which is actually the start of the West Coast swing. So let's get the bad out of the way first. Alright, now that commercial break's over, if you were watching the race and floating around NASCAR Twitter, you would know that Fox went to commercial approximately every 9.3 laps. The math was on Twitter. I didn't do it. My math's terrible. NASCAR Twitter was pretty up in arms about it. They were also up in arms about the absolutely terrible timing of one of their Fox side-by-sides. We'll get to that a little later. Alright, so Daytona 500 recap. Stage 1, Riley Herbst spins out coming onto pit road for his first green flag pit stop of the day. Bubba Wallace ended up in the wall after he got a bump from his Toyota teammate, Martin Truex Jr. They were just bump drafting on the backstretch. They actually had to pit for right side tires, and he had to deal with a bit toe link on the rear for the rest of the day. AJ Allmendinger made no friends as he made a move to block. He was a slow car going a lap down. He made a move to block the inside line under green flag conditions, and Ryan Blaney had something to say about that. The reason he threw that block was he was trying to stay in the lucky dog position ahead of Bubba Wallace, which the block actually kept him in the lucky dog position ahead of Bubba Wallace, so it did what it needed to do, but it didn't make a lot of people very happy. Stage 1 was pretty calm, relatively calm. Brad Keselowski took the first green and white checker flag of the day. Stage 2, as Clint Boyer made note of, NASCAR gave us longer restart zones, and Clint gave us this.
Think you're going to see some more craftsmanship, some gamesmanship, if you will. Think you're going to see some more craftsmanship, some gamesmanship, if you will.
So that side-by-side we talked about early in the video, Kevin Harvick gets Tyler Reddick loose in 3 and 4 and causes the big one, or a big one, in stage 2. The Fox TV director pulled and cut to a side-by-side literally as Harvick was bumping Tyler Reddick in the middle of the corner, and they nearly missed the entire wreck. Ross Chastain ends up winning stage 2 over Alex Bowman by inches. So the first part of the race was pretty calm. There was a little bit of chaos. Not a whole lot going on, though. We did have the one big one in stage 2. Final stage of the race. Bubba Wallace actually stays out to lead the start of the final stage. They didn't ever fix the rear toe link. They stayed out to try to get track position. It didn't really work. With 60 laps to go, Ryan Blaney, who had damage from the big one that Kevin Harvick and Tyler Reddick started, he blows the tire. The carcass of the tire ends up on the track, so NASCAR has to throw a caution. And it's actually only the second caution of the day for an on-track issue. The first one was the Tyler Reddick, Kevin Harvick big one. The Fords got lined up and led a bunch of the final stage. That is, until pit stop shuffled the field, and we ended up having a wreck in turn 1 and 2 with only 19 laps to go. Taking the green flag after that caution with 13 to go, Joey Logano doesn't let Ford/Penske teammate Harrison Burton down in the line. It kind of looked like they had that plan, but Logano kind of left him out to dry. William Byron nearly wrecked Joey Logano coming through the tri-oval. It was a bump draft gone kind of wrong. That allowed AJ Allmendinger to take the lead. Chris Buescher ends up pushing Brad Keselowski back to the lead with 11 to go. The new RCR teammates make the move on the backstretch to shuffle the RFK teammates out of the lead with 4 to go. It looks like Kyle Busch and RCR could get the win in the Daytona 500 until Daniel Suarez screws Kyle Busch for the second time this weekend. Suarez spins out as the leaders are literally taking 2 to go. They're crossing the finish line to get 2 to go. Suarez spins out, bringing out a caution. The chaos that ensued after this Daniel Suarez caution ended up bringing us the longest Daytona 500 ever. Kyle Busch did end up leading the 500th mile at Daytona. It's too bad the race ended up being the Daytona 528. The man who ended up leading the 528th mile, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That breaks his 199 race winless streak. His last win was the summer Daytona race back in 2017. Now, fun fact, the driver with the longest winless streak in Cup Series is now Michael McDowell at 72 races. That's right. The 2021 Daytona 500 winner, that was 72 races ago. That blows my mind. That's absolutely insane. A couple of notable things. After being caught up in the chaos of the NASCAR overtime finish, Travis Pastrana ends up P11, while 7-time champ Jimmy Johnson got caught up in one of them and ended up P31. On to the Xfinity Series race. On the pace laps, has radio issues, has to come down pit road and swap out his radio for a new one. He does this on the 1-to-go lap, so that means he doesn't actually get to take his pole position back. He has to start at the back of the field. That means the front row would be two veterans who haven't been full-time in the Xfinity Series in a few years. We have Parker Kligerman and Cole Custer side by side on the front row. After that little bit of misfortune for Austin Hill, it was basically the Austin Hill show for the rest of the day. He made it back up to P3 by lap 12. Blaine Perkins and Daniel Hemrick both get taken out in one fell swoop by Sam Mayer. Austin Hill wins stage 1 after he throws an absolutely massive last-second block on Justin Allgaier. Stage 2, Parker Kligerman spins Sheldon Creed out about midway through stage 2, which results in the first big one of the day. They were either first and second or second and third on the outside line, so the wreck happened at the start of the field. Junior Motorsports teammates battle for the stage 2 win, which ends up going to Justin Allgaier. Sammy Smith and Jeb Burton get together as they take the green and white checker to end stage 2. So the start of the race, again, was kind of calm. That's going to change in stage 3. Stage 3 was calm to start with. Green flag pit stops happen with 45 to go. Parker Kligerman spins himself out coming down to pit road. He manages to not hit anything and get the car going. 32 to go. CJ McLaughlin is involved in a wreck with Sammy Smith. CJ McLaughlin destroyed the front end of that car, and we don't really have a replay of it. Thanks, Fox. After the restart, Austin Hill and the 4 Junior Motorsports cars all get lined up on the outside, and they just pull the train around the top for quite a few laps. That is until Justin Allgaier, the 3rd car in line, makes a move on his teammate Josh Berry and breaks up the 4-car JRM train we got going here. So Justin Allgaier makes a move under Josh Berry. So Josh Berry gets shuffled out of line because of the move by Allgaier. Brandon Jones goes with Allgaier. They get back in line behind Austin Hill. Josh Berry gets a run on them, and he goes to make a move. Brandon Jones goes to block that move or get in front of it to take the run with him, and he gets spun off the nose of Josh Berry into the grass, which brings out a caution, which means we're going to have a green-white checkered. Under the caution, before the green-white checkered even starts, Josh Berry runs out of fuel, which leads to the question of who is going to have enough fuel and who's not. So there's one car that runs out of fuel in the middle of the pack as they come back to take the restart. It's not really an issue. Allgaier gets way too far out in front. Sam Mayer ends up with a massive run. Allgaier blocks him all the way up to the wall, but doesn't put him in the wall, leaves him enough room for a car that slows him so far down. Austin Hill has a massive run on them both. They both come back down the track. Sam Mayer gets turned, and Sam Mayer turns into a 3,500-pound piece of paper. Flips onto his roof down the backstretch. NASCAR has to use a photo to determine who was leading at the time of the caution. And Austin Hill repeats as season opener winner at Daytona back-to-back years. Pretty good little speedway racer in Austin Hill. All right, and on to the Craftsman Truck Series recap. Friday night officially kicked off the NASCAR season with the trucks at Daytona. Stage 1, they did a lap under green, and it rained on lap 2. The race was plagued by rain, the threat of rain, all night. They did get going. Clay Greenfield gets loose in the middle of 3 wide and takes out quite a few trucks with him, including Hailie Deegan in her first start for Thor Sport. Tyler Ankrum was fast. He had some of the craziest saves from getting pushed, but he was fast and sideways. Coming to the last lap, or on the last lap of stage 1, Stuart Friesen threw what I say is an absolutely terrible block, taking out Parker Kligerman, himself, and others. Stage 2 was calm and basically nothing happened in the truck series. Stage 3, Rajah Caruth goes 3 wide in the middle. Zane Smith kind of shuts the door on him, and he gets loose and spins with 42 to go. He takes out himself, Daniel Dye, Matty D, and a few others. Corey LaJoie, in one of his few truck series starts, gets the lead after the caution, but didn't last very long. He got shuffled out by Zane Smith. I mean, he basically got spit out down the middle and was gone. Unfortunately for him, just a few laps later, it starts raining with 32 to go. NASCAR dries the track. They start, they put them back out under the yellow flag, and it starts raining again. So NASCAR ended up calling the race, declaring Zane Smith the winner, which means he also goes back-to-back in the season opener at Daytona. Week 2 preview. We're headed out west to Fontana, California. This will be the last race on the 2-mile oval, as it is going to get torn up and reconfigured into a short track. Last year, this was the first quote-unquote normal race of the season with the next-gen car. With that came all kinds of chaos, including 2 major crashes in practice by Kevin Harvick and Ross Chastain. The chaos that this race had showed us that some of the smaller teams were going to have a pretty decent chance to run with the big dogs with the next-gen car. Eric Jones qualified on the front row alongside Austin Cindric, who had won the Daytona 500 the week before, so he was a rookie looking good, off to a great start. Kyle Busch actually brought out the first caution of the day on lap 16, which was just the start of the issues for Toyota. We'll get to that later. Chase Elliott bounces off the wall early. He ends up, I think, bending a toe link in that incident. So just a couple of laps later, after Chase Elliott hits the wall, Kyle Busch has to come to pit road under green because the car was overheating. That was the Toyota's issue for the day. While he's on pit road, Chase Elliott spins out of 6th place. So that was the result of him slapping the wall and I think blowing a tire. Martin Truex Jr. gets into the wall and nearly gets taken out by Austin Cindric. Tyler Reddick ends up winning the first stage over Eric Jones. Kyle Busch is 4 laps down after his early issues, and he ends up blowing a left rear tire. Christopher Bell spins out while Denny Hamlin is on pit road due to overheating. So there's another Toyota overheating. And actually, Christopher Bell had been on pit road earlier in the day because of overheating. Chris Buescher blows a tire. We saw a lot of blown tires in this race. We saw a lot of blown tires early in the year last year, but I think they got all that figured out. Chris Buescher blows a tire, spins, and hits the fence driver's side first, but he's able to drive away. Brad Kay actually gets spun out by former teammate Joey Logano on the restart. Tyler Reddick wins stage 2 before blowing a tire early in stage 3. There's another blown tire. While he was limping the car down the backstretch, he gets hit by William Byron, ruining both of their days. Brad Kay ends up spinning again, takes Harrison Burton and Bubba Wallace with him for the 10th caution of the day. It was a crazy race. Ross Chastain ends up spinning from 6th place. Chase goes 3 wide to the outside of Larson, and I don't remember who. Larson ends up putting him in the wall, claiming he didn't know his teammate was to his outside. Chase ends up spinning a few laps after the contact with Larson in the wall. A lot of people say he did it on purpose to get back at Larson or to get the caution he needed to fix the car again. Suarez, Larson, and Austin Dillon ended up battling for the win in the last 3 laps, but Larson prevailed to get his first win of the year, his first win in the next-gen car. We can only hope that Fontana gives us the same crazy, chaotic race for the last go-around of the 2-mile oval. Some other notable things for the weekend coming up. Kevin Harvick will make his 750th consecutive Cup race. He will become only the 3rd driver in NASCAR history to reach that mark. Funny thing about that is, he would actually have the overall #1 mark, but he got suspended for a race. If you remember that, Kenny Wallace replaced him for 1 race. Kyle Busch will actually have a new paint scheme with Lucas Oil coming on board. Reminds me of Kyle Larson's car, actually. The Cup cars will be joined by the Xfinity Series this weekend, as the Truck Series is off, but they will be back next weekend in Las Vegas. Michael Rooker, the man who played Rowdy in Days of Thunder and Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy, will be the Grand Marshal for the Cup race. Saturday Xfinity practice and qualifying will start at 12:05 Eastern. Cup Series practice and qualifying will start at 2:05 Eastern on Saturday. Xfinity race is 5 p.m. Saturday Eastern Time. Sunday, 3:30 p.m. on Fox is the Cup race. Now, the weather has changed a couple of times. When I saw it, it was 80% chance of rain on Saturday and a 20% chance of rain on Sunday. It might be a 50-50 chance for both days now. I'm not really sure, but looking like it might rain this weekend. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the NASCAR Recap Preview Show. This is week number 2 of 2023. If y'all liked it, please hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the YouTube stuff, help me grow my little channel here. Like I said, we're going to try to do one of these every week, probably around the middle of the week, so we can recap what happened last week and preview what happens next week. You can follow me on any social media. You can click the link in the description to find TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Well, you're on YouTube, but you know, all the things. Just follow me anywhere you want to. I'll see y'all next time. Peace. Peace. Craig Greenfield. Austin Hill wins stage 1 after he throw. Oh, God. The Fords got lined up. The Fords. And Sanders Preview Show of 2023.